The coffee had gone cold again. Third time this week, I'd sat in my kitchen at 9 p.m., staring at the empty driveway where Ava's BMW should have been parked. Another late meeting with her boss, Tom Mercer. Another mentorship dinner that couldn't wait until normal business hours. My name is Nick Harlan, and I'm a forensic auditor. I make my living finding discrepancies in financial records, tracking down missing funds, and exposing lies that people think they've buried deep enough. The irony wasn't lost on me that I'd been ignoring the biggest audit failure of my career, my own marriage. "Working late again, honey," Ava had said, breezing through the kitchen in her new designer suit, the one that cost more than my monthly truck payment. "Tom wants to discuss my partnership track over dinner at that new French place." I'd nodded, played the supportive husband. "Don't wait up for me," she'd added, not even looking back as she grabbed her purse. That was 4 hours ago. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through our text messages. Nothing since Tuesday. Before that, a grocery list. Before that, a reminder about her mother's birthday. When had we stopped talking about anything that mattered? The house felt different now, like a museum of a marriage that had ended without anyone bothering to announce it. Our wedding photo on the mantel seemed to mock me, two people who'd promised to love and honor each other back when those words meant something. I walked to the window and watched Mrs. Ford next door walking her ancient terrier. Normal people doing normal things while my world quietly fell apart. My phone buzzed. A text from Marty, my old college roommate who now ran a small IT consulting business. "Poker night tomorrow. You in?" I stared at the message. When was the last time I'd done anything for myself? When had I stopped being Nick Harlan and become just Ava's husband? "Yeah," I typed back. "I'm in." I was about to put the phone away when I noticed something odd. The laundry basket by the back door had Ava's gym clothes from yesterday, but underneath them was something that didn't belong, a small black device I didn't recognize. I picked it up. A phone. Not Ava's regular iPhone, but a cheap, prepaid model. The kind people buy when they don't want their activities tracked. My hands shook as I powered it on. No lock screen. The message history made my stomach drop. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Nick's working late as usual. The reservation is at 8. Wear the red dress. After dinner, my place? I've been thinking about you all day." The responses were just as explicit, just as damning. My wife of 12 years, the woman who'd complained that I didn't make enough money, wasn't romantic enough, wasn't ambitious enough, was planning intimate evenings with her boss while I sat home eating microwaved leftovers. I scrolled through more messages, each one a small blade between my ribs. They'd been at this for months, maybe longer. The texts revealed a pattern: dinners, weekend work conferences, overnight trips that I'd been told were mandatory training sessions. But it was the voicemail that destroyed me completely. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Ava's voice, breathy and excited. "Tom, I can't stop thinking about last night. Nick has no idea, obviously. He's so wrapped up in his little audit projects that I could probably move you into the guest room and he wouldn't notice." Tom's laugh in the background. "Poor guy. Does he really think you're working late all these nights? He's sweet, but he's so predictable. You make me feel alive again." "Well, we'll have to be more careful once you make partner. Can't have the other associates gossiping." "Don't worry about Nick. He'll never figure it out. He's too trusting for his own good." I played the message 3 times before the full impact hit me. They weren't just having an affair. They were laughing at me, making me complicit in my own humiliation. I sat in the dark kitchen, holding the evidence of my wife's betrayal, and felt something shift inside me. The hurt was still there, sharp and immediate, but underneath it was something colder, more calculating. Ava thought I was predictable, too trusting. She was about to learn that the skills that made me good at my job, attention to detail, patience, and a talent for exposing hidden truths, worked just as well outside the office. I took photos of every message, saved the voicemail to my own phone, and carefully placed the burner back where I'd found it. If Ava wanted to play games with evidence, she'd picked the wrong opponent. The front door opened at 11:30. I was in bed, pretending to sleep, when she slipped into the bathroom. I heard the shower running, smelled her expensive perfume when she finally slid under the covers. "How was dinner?" I asked quietly. "Oh, you're awake. It was good. Productive. Tom thinks I'm ready for more responsibility." "I'll bet he does," I thought. "That's great, honey. I'm proud of you." She kissed my cheek, a quick, guilty peck that felt like a signature on a confession. "I love you, Nick." "I love you too," I lied. As she drifted off to sleep beside me, I stared at the ceiling and began planning. Ava was right about one thing. I was good at my job, and my job was finding the truth and making sure everyone saw it. She wanted to make partner? Fine. But she was about to learn that some promotions come with a price she wasn't prepared to pay. The audit of our marriage was about to begin. I called in sick the next morning, first time in 3 years. Ava was already gone by the time I got up, another early meeting she'd mentioned in passing. I had the house to myself and a growing list of things to investigate. The first rule of forensic auditing is documentation. Everything has to be recorded, time-stamped, and verifiable. Emotions don't hold up in court, but evidence does. I started with our joint credit card statements. Amazing what you can learn when you actually pay attention. Charges at restaurants I'd never been to, always for 2 people. A hotel in Portland last month when she'd claimed to be at a legal conference in Boston. Lingerie purchases from stores that definitely weren't buying gifts for me. My phone rang. Marty. "You sound terrible," he said without preamble. "I need a favor, a professional one." Marty had been helping small businesses with their IT security for years. He knew his way around digital forensics better than most cops. "What kind of favor?" "The kind where you come over for coffee and bring your laptop." An hour later, Marty sat in my kitchen, looking at the evidence I'd compiled. He was a big guy, former college linebacker who'd traded his athletic build for a programmer's paunch, but his mind was still sharp as a razor. "Jesus, Nick, how long has this been going on?" "Months, from what I can tell. Maybe longer." He studied the credit card statements. "You want me to dig deeper?" "I want you to help me understand the full scope. If I'm going to do something about this, I need to know everything." Marty's fingers flew over his keyboard. "Your home Wi-Fi? She's been using it for video calls. I can see the data usage patterns. Heavy uploads to a cloud service every Tuesday and Thursday evening. Those are her late nights. Want me to see what she's been uploading?" I hesitated. Once we crossed this line, there was no going back. But Ava had already made that choice for both of us. Do it. What we found was worse than I'd imagined. Not just messages and photos, but videos. Recordings of their encounters in Tom's office, in hotel rooms, even in our house when I'd been out of town. She'd been documenting their affair like it was some kind of trophy collection. "This is..." Marty shook his head. "This is evidence of a hostile work environment at minimum. Maybe harassment, depending on how it started. It's evidence of my wife making a fool of me. It's evidence of your wife and her boss breaking about 6 different company policies and possibly state laws." I looked at my friend. "What would you do?" "Honestly, I'd burn their world down. But I'm not married to her." That afternoon, I drove to Ava's law firm. Prestigious glass tower downtown, the kind of place that charged $500 an hour and made you wait in marble lobbies. I knew the building well. I'd picked Ava up from company parties, dropped off forgotten files, played the dutiful spouse at firm events. The security guard recognized me. "Hey, Mr. Harlan, here to see your wife?" Actually, I wanted to speak with someone in human resources. Is Janet Morrison still the director? Sure is. 15th floor. Janet was a sharp woman in her 50s who'd always been friendly at company functions. She looked surprised to see me. Nick, what brings you by? I need to report a potential policy violation. It involves my wife. Her expression shifted to professional concern. Please, sit down. I laid out what I'd discovered, showing her the documented evidence without the most personal details. Janet's face grew increasingly grave as I spoke. This is very serious, Nick. If what you're showing me is accurate, we're looking at multiple violations of our professional conduct policies. I'm not here for revenge, Janet. I'm here because this affects the integrity of your firm. If Ava is getting preferential treatment because of her relationship with Tom, that's not fair to the other associates. What do you want us to do? I want you to investigate, properly. And I want it done quietly until you have all the facts. She nodded slowly. We'll need copies of this evidence. I expected you would. That evening, Ava came home in a fantastic mood. She'd been given a new case, a high-profile client that could make her career. Tom thinks I'm ready for the big leagues, she said, pouring herself a glass of wine. This could be my breakthrough. That's wonderful. You've worked so hard for this. She smiled, the same smile that had made me fall in love with her 15 years ago. For a moment, I almost wavered, almost convinced myself that I could forgive, that we could work through this. Then I remembered the voicemail, the laughter, the casual cruelty of her dismissal. I have to work late again tomorrow, she said. Big strategy session with Tom. Of course you do. My phone buzzed with a text from Janet Morrison. Investigation initiated. Please keep this confidential. I looked at my wife, already planning her next deception, and felt nothing but cold satisfaction. The audit was proceeding exactly as planned. The call came at 10:30 on a Thursday morning. I was reviewing a client's books when my phone rang with Janet Morrison's number. Nick, can you come in this afternoon? We've completed our preliminary investigation. What did you find? It's better if we discuss this in person. Can you be here at 2? I cleared my schedule and spent the next few hours wondering if I'd made a mistake. Part of me still hoped I was wrong, that there was some explanation that would make sense of everything. Janet's office felt different this time, more formal. She had a file folder on her desk and a grim expression. We've substantiated your allegations, she said without preamble. The evidence you provided led us to discover additional policy violations, financial irregularities, misuse of company resources, and a clear pattern of preferential treatment. What happens now? Both employees will be suspended pending a full investigation. Given the seriousness of the violations, termination is likely. I felt a strange mix of vindication and sadness. This was what I'd wanted, but it still hurt. There's something else, Janet continued. We found evidence that Mr. Mercer has been manipulating case assignments and billing practices. This goes beyond a personal relationship. We may need to involve outside authorities. That evening, I waited at home for Ava to return. She was later than usual, and when she finally walked through the door, her face was pale and her hands were shaking. We need to talk, she said. I figured we might. She sat across from me at the kitchen table where we'd shared thousands of meals, planned our future, dreamed about the life we'd build together. How long have you known? Long enough. Why didn't you say something? I looked at her, this woman I'd loved for so long, and felt only tired disappointment. What would you have said if I'd asked? Would you have told me the truth? She was quiet for a long moment. Probably not. Then why does it matter when I found out? I never meant for this to happen, Nick. It just evolved. For 8 months? This just evolved for 8 months? Her eyes widened. She hadn't realized I knew the full timeline. You've been investigating me. I've been trying to understand what happened to my marriage. You had no right. I had every right. You're my wife, or we're supposed to be. She stood up, pacing to the window. What do you want? An apology? A promise that it won't happen again? I want you to leave. The words hung in the air between us, final, irreversible. This is my house, too. Actually, it's not. It's in my name. The mortgage is in my name. You wanted to keep your credit clean for your career, remember? Her face crumpled. Nick, please, can't we work through this? The way you worked through your problems with Tom? That's not fair. Fair? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been telling me you were unhappy instead of sneaking around for months. Fair would have been asking for a divorce instead of making me complicit in my own humiliation. I do love you. No, you don't. You love the stability I provided, the reliable husband who paid the bills and didn't ask too many questions. But you don't love me. She was crying now, but I felt nothing. The tears that might have moved me 6 months ago just looked like another manipulation. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know. Maybe Tom can help you figure that out. I can't. We can't. The firm is investigating us. We might both lose our jobs. Then you probably should have thought about that before you decided to document your affair in company emails. Her face went white. How do you know about... I know about everything, Ava. The hotels, the videos, the company credit card charges, the lies about conferences. I know about all of it. She sank back into her chair, the full scope of her exposure finally hitting her. You reported us. I reported a violation of company policy that I became aware of. What you and Tom did was your choice. You destroyed my career. You destroyed your career. I just made sure the right people knew about it. We sat in silence for several minutes. Outside, I could hear Mrs. Ford calling for her dog, normal life continuing while ours fell apart. I'll pack some things, Ava finally said. That would be best. She went upstairs, and I listened to her moving around our bedroom, pulling clothes from drawers, emptying her jewelry box. When she came back down with 2 suitcases, she looked like a stranger. I'll need to get the rest of my things later. Call first. She paused at the door. I really didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, you did. Maybe not consciously, but you made a choice every single day for 8 months to keep hurting me. You just didn't think I'd ever find out. After she left, I walked through the house, noting all the empty spaces where her things had been. It felt hollow, but also clean, like I'd finally removed something that had been poisoning the air. My phone rang. Marty. How are you holding up? Better than I expected. You did the right thing. I know. What happens now? I looked around the empty house, at the life I'd built that had turned out to be a lie, and felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Possibility. Now I figure out what comes next. But first, I had one more call to make. Ava's mother, Maureen, who'd never thought I was good enough for her daughter, who'd made snide comments about my job, my clothes, my car for 12 years. She answered on the second ring. Nicholas, is everything all right? I thought you should know that Ava and I are separating. What? Why? I sent her the same evidence package I'd given to Janet Morrison. Check your email, I said, and hung up. The audit was complete. The findings had been distributed. Now came the most satisfying part of any investigation, watching the consequences unfold. 3 days after Ava moved out, Tom Mercer showed up at my house. I was in the garage, organizing tools I hadn't touched in months, when I heard a car door slam in my driveway. Through the window, I saw Tom's silver Lexus and felt my jaw tighten. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, wrinkled shirt, unshaven, hair disheveled. Good. He pounded on my front door with the kind of aggressive intensity that told me this wasn't going to be a polite conversation. Open up, Nick. We need to talk. I took my time walking to the door, letting him stew on my front porch where the neighbors could see him. When I finally opened it, he pushed past me into my living room without being invited. You son of a... He caught himself, probably remembering he was in my house. You destroyed her career. You destroyed both our careers. I didn't destroy anything. I just made sure the right people had accurate information. Don't give me that righteous garbage. You knew exactly what would happen when you reported us. I closed the door and turned to face him. Tom was a big man, used to intimidating people in boardrooms and courtrooms, but he wasn't in his element now. What I knew was that my wife was having an affair with her boss and using company resources to facilitate it. What the company chose to do with that information was their decision. She loves me. The words hung between us, pathetic and desperate. She loved the idea of making partner. She loved the expensive dinners and hotel rooms. She loved feeling important. But love? No, Tom. She doesn't love you any more than she loved me. You don't know what you're talking about. I know she recorded your encounters and stored them on a cloud server. I know she kept detailed records of your conversations. I know she was already planning her exit strategy in case things went wrong. His face went pale. That's not... She wouldn't... Check her laptop, check her personal files, see what else you find. He stared at me for a long moment, and I could see the doubt creeping in, the realization that maybe he didn't know Ava as well as he thought. Even if that's true, you had no right to interfere. I had every right. She's my wife. Not anymore. No, not anymore, thanks to you. He moved closer, trying to use his size to intimidate me. You think you're so smart, don't you? The wronged husband getting his revenge. I think I'm a man who got tired of being lied to. Well, congratulations. You won. We're both probably going to lose our jobs, Ava's reputation is ruined, and you get to feel superior. I don't feel superior, Tom. I feel tired. Then why did you do it? I looked at this man who'd helped destroy my marriage, who was standing in my living room demanding sympathy, and felt a flash of the anger I'd been keeping under control. Because you made me complicit. Every time I believed her lies about working late, every time I supported her career while you two laughed about how clueless I was, every time I played the devoted husband while she was planning her next deception, you made me part of it. We never meant. You never meant to get caught. There's a difference. He was quiet for a moment, looking around my house like he was seeing it for the first time. The photos of Ava and me, the furniture we'd picked out together, the life he'd helped tear apart. She's staying at a hotel, he said finally. She can't afford an apartment now that she's been suspended. And? I thought you might want to know. Why would I want to know that? Because despite everything, you loved her once. I loved who I thought she was. That person never existed. He moved toward the door, then stopped. The firm is conducting a full audit of all my cases. They think I've been manipulating billing records, giving Ava preferential assignments. Have you? Some. Not as much as they think, but some. Then you'll face the consequences. Just like that? No sympathy for what this is doing to us? I opened the front door. You want sympathy? Try the dictionary. It's between stupid and syphilis. After he left, I called Marty. Tom Mercer just paid me a visit. How did that go? About as well as you'd expect. He's scared. They're both scared. Good. They should be. The firm is doing a complete audit of his work. Sounds like they found more than just the affair. I'm not surprised. Guys like that always think they're smarter than everyone else. That evening, I got a call from Janet Morrison. Nick, I wanted to update you on our investigation. We've found evidence of significant financial improprieties, overbilling clients, manipulating case assignments, misuse of company credit cards. How significant? Significant enough that we're involving law enforcement. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and unease. I'd wanted consequences, but this was bigger than I'd expected. What about Ava? She appears to have been a beneficiary of the preferential treatment rather than a co-conspirator in the financial irregularities. She'll likely face professional sanctions and termination, but probably not criminal charges. And Tom? That's less clear. The investigation is ongoing. After I hung up, I sat in my empty house and tried to process what I'd set in motion. I'd wanted justice, wanted them to face consequences for what they'd done, but I hadn't expected it to spiral this far. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is all your fault. I hope you're happy. Ava, probably using a new phone since the firm had confiscated her company device." I typed back, "I didn't make your choices for you. You destroyed everything. You destroyed everything. I just made sure people knew about it. I have nothing left." For a moment, I felt a flicker of the old sympathy. Then I remembered the voicemail, the laughter, the casual cruelty of her dismissal. "You have what you chose," I typed. "Deal with it." I blocked the number and went to bed. The audit was complete, but the consequences were just beginning. 2 weeks later, everything came to a head in the most public way possible. I was having lunch at Murphy's Deli downtown when Sully, Jim Sullivan, an old poker buddy who worked for the local newspaper, slid into the booth across from me. "Nick, buddy, I need to ask you about something." "What's that?" "Word is your wife and her boss at Preston and Associates got suspended for having an affair. Any comment?" I nearly choked on my sandwich. "Where did you hear that?" "Sources. You know how it is in this town. Nothing stays secret for long." He was right about that. In a city this size, everyone knew everyone's business eventually. "No comment, Sully. Come on, Nick. Give me something. This could be a real story. Corruption at one of the city's most prestigious law firms. What kind of corruption? Financial stuff. Overbilling, kickbacks, misuse of funds. The kind of thing that makes good headlines." I thought about Tom's scared face in my living room, Ava's desperate text messages, the investigation that had grown far beyond what I'd originally reported. If you're going to write about it, make sure you get the facts right. I always do. That's why I'm asking you. Then ask the firm. Ask the people involved. Don't ask me. But Sully's questions had planted a seed. If the story was going to come out anyway, and in a town this size it inevitably would, maybe it was time to make sure the full truth was told. That afternoon, I got a call from Ava. "Nick, please, I need to see you." "I don't think that's a good idea. The newspaper is sniffing around. They're going to run a story about the firm, about Tom and me. I need your help." "My help?" "You could tell them it was a misunderstanding, that we're working things out." I was quiet for so long she probably thought the call had dropped. "Nick? Are you there?" "I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out if you're serious." "I am serious. This story could ruin me completely." "You ruined yourself completely. The story is just going to let everyone else know about it. Please. I'm begging you. Where's Tom? Why isn't he helping you with this?" Tom isn't taking my calls anymore." Of course he wasn't. Now that the consequences were real, now that his own career was on the line, he'd abandoned her just like I'd predicted. "I can't help you, Ava. Can't or won't. Both." That evening, Sully called me back. "I've been digging into this Preston and Associates thing. It's bigger than just an affair." "How much bigger?" "Tom Mercer's been running a side business, referring clients to a consulting firm he secretly owns. The firm pays him kickbacks. He gives them inside information on cases. Everyone wins except the actual clients who are getting overcharged." "How do you know all this?" "Sources, plus some documents that got leaked to me." "What kind of documents?" "Financial records, email chains, billing statements, the kind of stuff that makes prosecutors very interested." I had a pretty good idea where those documents had come from. Janet Morrison had struck me as the kind of person who believed in transparency. "Are you going to run the story?" Tomorrow's front page, Corruption and Affairs, Inside the Fall of Preston and Associates. Catchy headline. I thought so. Last chance for a comment, Nick. I thought about Ava, alone in some hotel room, watching her world collapse. I thought about Tom, probably hiring his own lawyer by now. I thought about the life we'd all had before this started, and how none of us would ever get it back. No comment, I said. The story ran the next morning. Sully had done his homework, detailed financial records, testimony from former clients who'd been overbilled, quotes from legal ethics experts about the seriousness of the violations. The affair was mentioned, but it was almost a footnote compared to the financial corruption. My phone started ringing at 7 a.m. Reporters, friends, even some clients who'd seen my name mentioned in the article. I turned it off and went for a long walk along the harbor. When I got back, there was a car in my driveway I didn't recognize, a small sedan with rental plates. Ava was sitting on my front porch, looking like she'd aged 10 years in the past month. "We need to talk," she said. "I thought we'd said everything we needed to say." "The newspaper story. Did you give them those documents?" "What documents?" "Don't play dumb, Nick. The financial records, the billing statements. That information came from somewhere. It came from an investigation that started when I reported a policy violation. What happened after that was out of my hands." "But you knew it would lead to this." "I knew you and Tom had violated company policies. I didn't know about the financial stuff until everyone else did." She stood up, and I could see she'd been crying. "My career is over, completely over. No firm will hire me after this. That's unfortunate." "Unfortunate? That's all you have to say?" "What do you want me to say, Ava? That I'm sorry? That I wish things had turned out differently?" "Do you wish things had turned out differently?" I looked at her, this woman I'd shared my life with for 12 years, and tried to find some trace of the person I'd fallen in love with. But all I could see was someone who'd made a series of selfish choices and was now facing the consequences. "I wish you'd made different choices. I wish you'd been honest with me. I wish you'd asked for a divorce instead of having an affair. But do I wish I hadn't found out? No. So this is it? This is how we end? This ended 8 months ago when you decided Tom was more important than our marriage. Everything since then has just been paperwork." She got in her car and drove away without another word. I watched her taillights disappear around the corner and felt nothing but relief. That night, I called Marty. "Saw the newspaper story. How are you holding up?" "Better than I expected." "Any regrets?" I thought about the question. Did I regret reporting the affair? Did I regret the investigation that followed? Did I regret the public exposure that had destroyed 2 careers and probably ended Tom's freedom? "No," I said finally. "No regrets." "Good. They made their choices." "Yeah, they did. What's next for you?" I looked around my empty house, at the space where Ava's things used to be, at the life I was going to have to rebuild from scratch. "I don't know yet, but whatever it is, it'll be honest." And for the first time in months, that felt like enough. The audit was complete. The books were balanced. Justice had been served with interest compounded daily. Some investigations end with arrests, some end with financial settlements. This one ended with the truth, exposed to sunlight, leaving no place for lies to hide. In my profession, that's what we call a successful outcome.